Alright, halfway house. Thursday morning. It's time. Oh, mama. What else we got? Let's do an old vaginakin. Haven't had a vaginakin in probably 10 or 12 years. He's donated to me for a small job I did out here at the lake. So, we got the old 7.3. It's an early one, 99. Kind of an oddball deal. If you deal with these, you know there's all kinds of weird shit with the 99s. Oh, goddamn, tastes like Heineken. Not very good. So this belongs to the neighbor over here. I don't know if you can see. He'd been driving it for a long time. Said it was low on power. Didn't tell where the fuck. Said it felt like the turbo wasn't working. Put the scanner on it. Had a code for the back pressure sensor. I think it was high back pressure sensor, some bullshit, and a back pressure sensor code. So I go to pull the sensor off, find out that the tube, I don't know if you can see the tube down there, the tube was completely rotted in two pieces. Put a new tube on it. Still was showing 53 psi at idle and at full throttle on the back pressure side. Put a motorcraft sensor on it. Reads correctly now, runs fucking tits, actually builds boost, runs fucking badass, whatever. I also noted a bunch of other shit that I found wrong with this thing. Wish I had the filter, but the filter is completely fucking clogged. This thing was fucking maxed out. The belt only had, it was missing an entire rib on it, blah blah blah. Radiator's leaking. Thermostat housing leaking. Bunch of oil leaks. Oil cooler obviously leaking big time. He said it was leaking power steering fluid. Hydroboost is leaking. This thing steered terribly. I mean, one of the worst steering vehicles I've ever driven. And I've driven a lot of second gens, a lot of first gens. This thing was like a Cadillac compared to this thing. Most of it appeared to be in the gearbox. So, told him I needed a gearbox. What else? Bunch of bullshit. So, I can't forget the beer, even though it is a vaginakin. But, so it is a 99. I believe it was built in January of 99. So, from what I've read, that March of 99 and earlier got a 32 spline. And after March, they got a 36 spline. But then I read a bunch of other shit that, well, that was only the E-Series, and that was only two-wheel drives and all this other bullshit, so I had to pull this one to make sure. I assume this is original. It is a 32 spline. It is a four-wheel drive, obviously. Another thing, see where the, let's put it down so I can see where the master splines are. Apparently the 36 splines, the masters are at 90 degrees instead of at 45 degrees, so something to watch out for. But they could have been swapped out at any point. These trucks are 20 years old now, so pull the bitch off, make sure. Another thing they said is that some were only a 2-bolt cover. I've never seen a 2-bolt cover. I don't know what that means, but everyone I've ever seen is a 4-bolt. So just something to watch out for. This is a, I don't know if you can see, 33 millimeter. This one. There's a lock washer. Don't lose it. This standard bullshit fucking, Vato Zone fucking puller works fucking perfect on these. Works great. What else? This is a 13 mil. Let's flip her over. These are both 16 mil. The tie rod that goes in here is a 21 millimeter. So let's go back over here. Keep on cruising. So there you go. That's a 21. these 3 bolts, which are these long bastards that go through the frame. Those are 16 mils. You got your, you can see it, the steering shaft, that's a 13 mil. Like I said, your hoses are a 16 mil. You can see the oil cooler leaking, hydroboost leaking, radiator leaking, thermostat housing leaking. No oil in the coolant, no fuel in the coolant. I don't suspect the oil cooler has failed, but I would assume that it's original because he's never replaced anything on this truck. So I suggested replacing it. So blah blah blah. He's new hydroboost. We're gonna do that. Definitely leaking at multiple places. Gonna do a radiator. He says the fan clutch, I don't know if I can really reach it, but it is definitely a little loose. He wants to replace that, so I'm going to do that. What else? I got the belt remover 5000 right here. That is the fastest way to remove a shitty belt. Works every time. Make sure you don't lose these because they're always fucking missing for some reason. I don't know how people fucking... No, this one has them. But yeah, people lose those all the fucking time. Make sure this shit, as you can see, this one's topped off. I have seen these fail, the masters fail, and they'll leak between. You can see my finger in here. This one appears to only be leaking power steering fluid, and is confirmed by his top quality, his preference of power steering fluid, which obviously you can see it is leaking fucking everywhere. That would be power steering fluid. Obviously leaking oil, oil cooler. Just a lot of maintenance, really. And to pull the inner fender, did have a bushwhacker style flare, which is what this bullshit is. I think they're 5 or 5.5 millimeter bolts. You do have your 2 8 mils up here. You got your 8 mil there, and then you got your tree clips here. You got this tree clip, you got that tree clip, and you got this bullshit here. Pull that shit off. Not a hard job, just semi-tedious. Also makes it easier to get to this bullshit if you do have to do an oil cooler. I recommended getting a new oil cooler since it doesn't appear he's ever done maintenance on this thing, so I was like, well, it's probably original, let's do a fucking oil cooler. I don't see them fail too often, but hey, it's 20 years old. I mean, I might reseal the gaskets and it might last 10 years, it might last 10 minutes, so put an oil cooler in it and be fucking safe. That's my recommendation. But yeah, so radiator, got these 8 mil bolts, all your tire change fucking bullshit, which is never there anyway. You got your radiator hoses, your D-bag bottle, all the bullshit on the bottom, tranny cooler. Get all that bullshit out of the way. Radiator's pretty easy to change, especially if you're doing the fucking belt and the fan clutch at the same time. Pull all that shit out. Not a big deal. So I highly recommend saving these fucking trucks because, I mean, go to trade this thing in, they'll probably offer you $6 grand. And you'll be looking at 60 to 70 grand on a new fucking truck. Fuck that. This truck's way better. Put some money into this one. Dude wants to paint it. Needs a little bit of body work. Got a little bit of rust. No big deal. This is a great truck to fucking save. God damn. Not good. He's already done the interior. Fucking tits. All the parts. Blah, blah, blah. Most of the parts. I gotta go pick the rest up later. This thing has the best AC of any truck I've ever driven. I don't know how or why, but it does. And the best part of all... Oh, mama. Man, have some fucking flashbacks to, you know, 3rd grade, 1995, man. Whew. Whew. Getting goosebumps. But, yeah, that was my shit back in those days. So, yeah, these trucks are worth saving. A little bit of effort. Fuck, not even a whole lot of labor, man. If you want to pay somebody else to do it, not that big of a deal. I love work. If I can make a living off doing 7.3s and 6 liters, I would. Or I try to. But, well, 7.3s are good trucks. 6 liters are good trucks. 6 liters just garbage, but hey, it makes me money. So, you know, whatever. Keep them maintained, or pay somebody to maintain them. And they're really not that expensive to keep going, you know. They're a lot cheaper than a new fucking vehicle. So, let's keep these old 7.3 turds on the road. Let's keep the old 12 valves on the road. And, I don't know. I guess if you're going to donate Heineken, I'll drink it, but not willingly. I seriously haven't had one of these in probably 10 or 12 years. And now I remember why, because they're not. Oh, not good. That's one of the worst beers I've ever had. It's better than Bud Light, but that's about it. Anyway, so 7.3 life. Keep them on the road. Pay me to keep them on the road. Whatever. I love these things. They're great trucks, great motors. If you can, you know, stomach the little bit of effort you got to put into them every year or so, then no big deal. They're great trucks. Better than a 6.7 by miles. So I am going to finish off my Vaginakin and get back on this shortly. Actually, I got to go pick up more parts later, so I ain't got a whole lot to do today. Anyway, see y'all later. Halfway House, Vaginakin. See y'all.